media and everyone watching from home. Welcome to this first meeting of the Three Waters Committee held on Wednesday the 19th of November. I'm just going to quickly hand over to Neil to do introductions for everyone to the team at the table and just what their roles are within the organisation. So thank you, Neil.
Thanks, Russell. Yes, for those councillors who don't know Ulrich Glasner is our Water Services Manager, and next to him is Andrew Guthrie, who's our Assets Manager, and Hernando Murillo, our Operations and Projects Manager. I'll hand over to Ulrich to explain the two groups and what they do, but first I'll just, for those councillors who've been here previously, the agenda has changed slightly from what we had before. We've lifted the information to not cover the number of CRMs. We now give a sort of an overview of the CRMs and identify if there's any problem areas or issues that need addressing, and we'll explain those. It also reflects more what's in our terms of reference and aligns with our water services delivery plan. So going forward, our reporting will align with all the objectives and our programming that we've got in our water services delivery plan. So I'll hand over to Ulrich.
Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you very much, Neil, through the chair. Yeah, my name is Ulrich Glasner. I'm the Water Services Manager, and I'm having Hernando and Andy sitting beside me. So we are responsible for delivering Three Waters here in the district in all aspects, from an operational as well from a strategic perspective. And yeah, maybe both of them can introduce themselves and as well the team, what they are doing in their team. So handing over to Andy.
Yeah, hi. So
just microphone there, Andy. Thank you.
So I head up the assets team for council. My guys tend to be looking out of the longer term view of the planning. So we do the asset management planning for the longer view. And difference to Hernando, who's looking after the day-to-day operations. Currently, I look after the development engineering side of things, although that may shift in terms of responsibility soon. And also, we manage the compliance for council, so drinking water compliance, RMA compliance, and the like. We've actually got an interesting project at the moment where we are implementing a new resource management or a consent management system. So we're hoping to be able to bring that to the committee within probably the next few months. So that's me.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Hernando Murillo. I'm the Manager for Operations and Maintenance. So my team has two distinct activities. One is operations and one is maintenance. Operations is capital renewal projects, where we design the projects, procure or identify the contractors who will construct the projects, and then deliver and construct the projects. Once the project is constructed, it's delivered to the operations team, where the operations team manage all the water treatment plants, wastewater treatment plants, and the reticulation system, which is our pipes for water and wastewater. We also manage trade waste, and we do the sampling and analysis of water testing and stormwater and wastewater. And we also manage the laboratory that we have in this building downstairs. So that also includes the management of stormwater and maintenance.
Sorry, if I can just add that what's up there on the slide is it's taken from the Water Services Delivery Plan. It's the one page that shows the structure and how it all fits in. I don't know if that's what you're going to say.
Yeah, that's correct. So this is what we have put forward in regard of the Water Service Delivery Plan to DIA, how we have assessed what kind of positions we need. The total structure, as mentioned already by Andy, we are working through that as we speak as part of the implementation process in regard of a gap analysis where we need to see additional staffing coming in to support us in regards of reporting requirements coming from Tomata, otherwise the Regional Council, and as well from the Commerce Commission. So that's as well on that slide where you see the different people who are covering different roles with the title.
So thank you, gentlemen. So all five of those roles are obviously here in the room with Hamish, Neil, Ulrich, Andy, and Hernando. So that's great. Okay, well, thank you for that information. I'll just go through the procedural part, then I'll come to you, Carolyn, in a second. Call for apologies. We have one for lateness from Councillor Everest. Extraordinary business. I know of none. Is there any extraordinary business? No. Declarations of interest. Or do you have something? No. Sorry, that's all right.
No.
All right. You have a question, Carol?
Yes, the previous slide, thank you. We have and I know we've discussed this in previous council meetings, up to 4 additional people needed to the delivery of the water services plan. When will we know how many people? It's just got up to on that slide.
Yeah, we have employed already 2 additional staff. One is in regard of stormwater. We don't have any stormwater expertise here at council at that point of time. This person starts at the 1st of December, and we needed someone who is really taking care of our data. So we have a 3 waters data analyst employed who starts at the 8th of December. Luckily, we have that in-house capability with one person. We are taking over in that team, and we are pretty lucky with the employment so far. The 2 other roles are part of a discussion we need to see through the gap analysis and what's coming out of the Commerce Commission in regards of information disclosure. So the volume on requirements on compliance and reporting on compliance will, will drive the other 2 positions.
Can I ask a follow-on question, please?
Certainly.
Through the chair. That funding for those roles is already this is a question, not a rhetorical question. Is it already ring-fenced and put aside under the water services delivery plan? Is that's taken off and ring-fenced?
Yes, the first 2 positions are in the current year, so they were included in the current year's budget. The 2 in the following year are included in the annual plan as part of our water services delivery plan budget. That's been.
So they're included in the annual plan, which will come at about Christmas time.
Yes, that's correct.
Thank
but it's
you.
in the approved water services delivery plan.
Marvellous. Thank you.
Councillor Wilson.
The diagram you had up was great for internal through the council, but where does I know council's at the top, the council itself is at the top, and the Three Waters Committee is under that. It'd be great to see that in a flow so we can see, because this is governance, we're talking, governance of the project. If we'd gone to CCO, you would have that same diagram, but you'd have a couple more boxes and they'd have their roles set out. So it'd be great to see how that role is set out so that we know where this committee, it's got its terms of reference, but how it interacts is the word.
Maybe through the chair, Councillor Wilson, it's part of the water service delivery plan, and it's clearly shown. We have taken only that part out, what you have just seen. Above that, sitting the whole governance side and as well the regulator side, which forms then the service we have to deliver. So we can provide that with the minutes next time round.
Thank you. Welcome, Phil. You haven't missed anything. We've only just started the meeting. We're just having a bit of a pre-meeting meeting almost, but that's cool. All right, so we'll move on with our meeting format, page 3, Three Waters operations, and I'll just hand to what I call the 3 wise men at the top table, and they'll take us through the agenda. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. We share the load here a little bit between us. So Hernando will covering the operational side. I'm taking over the capital side.
Just before you start, can I clarify something? For those people not on the committee, totally free to ask questions and be involved in any discussions that happen. So, so please feel free. So sorry, carry on.
Absolutely fine. Thank you very much. Yeah, under 4.1, we show here a new chart, so to speak, which gives you an idea in regard of the operation of all of our water supply schemes and wastewater schemes and stormwater here in the district. And we mark them green, orange, and red. You see we have only 2 with orange, with minor localized issues throughout that period, and maybe Hernando can a little bit explain around the 2 parts, which is in orange, what was happening.
Through the chair. So we have some minor disruptions or low pressure areas in Ashburton lately as part of the UV upgrade project. We are started working with the Ashburton water treatment plant, which delivers almost 50% of the water supply in the district, in Ashburton town. So with that, we have to rely only with 3 plants, which is Bridge Street, Argyle Park, and Tynwald. So the low pressure is caused by the what you call this, the insufficient amount of water from those 3 plants to supply the whole of. Once in December, once the domain plant is functional again, all the pressure will be back to normal.
Maybe in addition to that, what Fernando just mentioned, we are just in, which comes in the capital work program as well, to upgrade domain, but we needed to get some plants offline, which caused that issue. What we have done in between to address the pressure issue, we have increased slightly the pressure in the other plants because we have seen that we have a pressure drop in the system, and personally I got affected as well. The shower in the morning was slightly trickling, but this is all addressed throughout the district with a slight increase of pressure from the other plants.
Another minor issue was from Mithven when during that heavy weather event the plant was struck by lightning. So all our PLCs have been burnt. So we have to repair them, and it took a day or 2 to repair all the PLCs and put the plant in normal.
I can just add that in formatting, we'll attempt to get the colour blocks a lot bigger so it's more visible.
Councillor Cameron, you have a
Thank
question?
you. I have a question with regards to the minor issues. I understand the UV filter issue and I understand the loss of pressure. Well, that's been sorted. I think that's intuitive. This being struck by lightning for our very fancy new water treatment plant in Methven is a bit more of a concern, and I think that could happen subsequently again. It doesn't seem a unique thing with the big storm events. Can we insulate that, or have we done it? And where do we get the motherboard or whatever it is, the electronic equipment? Where is it sourced from? Do we keep one in reserve to minimise?
So there was not a lightning strike directly into the plant because this is all earthed, but we had a lightning strike into the ground where we have cable who are then going into the plant,
Sure.
which are then, put that power onto the switchboard and cause the problems. And we are looking into that as we speak from an operational perspective, how we can isolate that this will not happening in the future.
Because that seems like it will happen in the future. I mean, the
And-
lightning strike seems, we'll get another one. So we need to somehow, and I'm no engineer, insulate that system so that it can't happen, or keep the necessary equipment on site or around about so we can replace it faster.
Absolutely. So we need to look into resilience, and that is what we are doing. That is what we are learning out of these events.
And to minimise the risk of it happening again.
Yes. Luckily, maybe in addition to that, we had enough water in the reservoirs available, so that's a really positive thing. So that we have 2 reservoirs, we couldn't produce water for around about 5 hours, but we still had enough water available to feed it back to the community. For security purpose, we put a tanker up as well in Methven. If we would have seen that it would take maybe a little bit longer, but that wasn't the case. Yes.
Mayor Liz?
Thank you. So the equipment was damaged and replaced. Was that an easy fix, and did it cost us much to get it replaced, and is insurance involved? Or
My understanding is the switchboard was already prepared to put other parts in.
Oh, okay.
So from that point, but we needed to source it. So we had things we need to buy, which we hadn't on site. That took a while to get that in place.
No further questions on any of that? We'll go to projects, page 4. Oh, sorry. Oh, Jeanette, sorry.
Just one question. Have you got provisions to keep a spare motherboard or things on site? Because given that I live on the same iron pan that affected it, you will get ground strikes again because we had them the same day.
Yeah, so that's a learning out of that exercise. Normally we have spare parts on site for pumps or for valves or what we need. But in that occasion, that's the first time we had that kind of event, it's always then a reminder in regards of resilience to really have this equipment on site. Yeah.
Thank you.
Going over to the projects, drinking water status. We have only 2 plants to report on, or only 1 plant. It's in regards of Tremor. We have a slight delay in regards of putting that online from a commissioning perspective. The company who is helping us out in regards of the commissioning is not able to provide that service before Christmas, so we will do that in January, late January, beginning of February. And source water risk management plans in regards of workload from the specific person who is normally dealing with it. He was really, after we had put the lab on, we had another audit on the lab, and that took quite a while to get that as well over the line, which is resolved now, and we are going back to work on the source water risk management plans.
Thank you. Councillor Todd?
Thank you. So, obviously, as it says, is that actually going out and sourcing more water supplies, like drilling for water supply, or what is actually sourcing water as such?
Yeah, so the preparation of source risk management plans is a legislative responsibility. So the work, the compliance officer, drinking water compliance advisor was doing that work for us. It involves an assessment of the water sources for each of our supplies, and then determining the risks around each supply, and we have to basically have some sort of plan in place to address those risks or mitigate them where we can. In terms of what we're trying to use our internal resources as best we can, and at the moment we actually need that person also to be working on the implementation tasks for the delivery plan. So we're probably not going to get back to the source risk management work until the new year.
Councillor Wilson?
The advanced water meeting trial, I'm guessing that's the one in Rakaya. Can you just perhaps inform us, because everybody understands where it's at and where it's running to?
Yeah, really good question. Thank you for that. We are in the vicinity or in the space to award the contract for the installation of the water meters in Rakaya. We had just yesterday a project meeting with the company called IntelliHub in regards of the sourcing of the meters and the installation. So they will provide at the end of the day, as an idea, water metering as a service. That means on the horizon 3-5 years out, we will see where we are sitting with it. So we will come back to you to provide then really a service where they provide the water meter, they are doing the reading, they are doing as well then the charging, if we are going in that way, and providing a full service for us where we are paying then an amount per annum for each of the meter.
So just to clarify, so it's a real-time monitoring of water use, but not water charging, it's just water use.
It's
so
just
the management of the resource.
Correct. It's just at the moment to get an understanding if the system works, and this gives us really good an indication in regard of water leaks on private properties and on our network. So we are getting around about 48 readings per day. So in 24 hours, every half an hour, there will be a reading made from these meters. So we see how the meter behaves. And when we see that water will be used over 24 hours, we will know there is a leak, but this will be as well put into the software. So we're getting alarms as well when we see that is happening, that we have water running between, for example, 2 and 4 o'clock in the morning.
So is this some of the work your new data analyst will end up sort of
This will go
collating all that information?
Absolutely, that will go in that direction where we'll get then some more information how we are using our water and hopefully can reduce as well water losses we have in the system from a private property perspective and as well from our network.
So in the water services plan, what year did we have, potentially installation of water meters county district-wide put in them?
In the first year.
The water meters is actually currently being proposed for the annual plan.
Thank you. Any further questions on that? 5.3, wastewater projects.
Yeah, wastewater projects, we have just the issue in regards of wetland top channel improvement, where we are a little bit later than expected in regards of the completion date. So the completion date was normally a little bit earlier than the 30th of November, and similar to the nitrate monitoring out at Ocean Farm. But we will get that data then from the 30th of November onwards. This will go as well in the direction of the data analyst, who will give us then some guidance what needs to be done and how we can improve.
Can you just give a little explanation, I suppose, just around the wetland top channel work and that, because there's obviously new people to the room and
Yes.
and the reason for the nitrate testing and those sorts of things?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have the wastewater treatment plant at Wilkins Road. So this is treating all of our water from Tynwald and from Ashburton, and then it get per gravity fed out to Ocean Farm. Our pipeline is around about 11.5 kilometers long, and before the treated effluent ends up in the wetland or parallel, we have a weir for a discharge. If we have a high rainfall event and if the wetland can't cope with the flows incoming, we have a restriction on that one in regards, I can't remember how many overflows are accepted throughout the resource consents, and the regional council is asking us to have a better control of that. And this is what we like to do with the channel improvements, to get a better understanding when we are discharging, because if we are discharging longer than 3 days, we need to notify the regional council. This is part of that exercise. Normally the water will go through the wetland and then from the wetland through a screen into a pond, and from the pond it will be pumped into the irrigation system out at Ocean Farm. And the nitrate one is, we are at the moment non-compliant in regards of nitrate discharges out at Ocean Farm, and we need to get a better understanding how that works and where we are really lacking. Beside that, we are planning to install as well meters. At the moment, we are discharging with 1 meter into the 265 hectare area, and we don't have really a clear understanding out of the 16, 17 zones we have, how much flow is going into each zone. It's all about then the calculation on the nitrogen loading on the land. Per resource consent, we have a limit of 305 kilogram per nitrogen per hectare per year. If we can irrigate more, at the moment the pop-up sprinklers are not getting the diameter we need on the land, and this is what we need to work through.
Councillor Hooper.
Thank you. Through the chair, some in the room won't know that the wetlands aren't working, and what's coming out of them is worse than what's going into them. So can you give us an update on where we're at with our thoughts around that? Andy, has there been any changes going forward?
Well, not at this stage. So we're, as part of our non-compliance management with Environment Canterbury, we agreed to the Ocean Farm action plan. So we've been providing periodic updates to ECAN on the progress towards that. This wetland top channel improvements and nitrate monitoring was part of that action plan. What we the main issue with the wetland, as we see it, is the water quality as it passes through the wetland. And one of the undertakings we made was to carry out another round of fecal source tracking, which is to identify what is actually causing the high E. coli and deterioration in water quality through the wetland. The last time we did this was 2022, I think, and it indicated pretty strongly that it was actually caused by wildlife, by bird life. And so far, I think we've got one more round of sampling to do, but the first 2 results indicate a similar situation. I think one of the things that we'll have to do once we've done the review of that data is actually have a firm decision on what we do with the future of the wetland. We could leave it there and apply for a variation to our consent to address the monitoring location, so that our water quality is judged on the intake channel rather than the the lower channel. But again, these things are still speculative at this point. We haven't made a decision.
So the Ocean Farm strategy, how's that coming along? Is it just bubbling away in the background? And I shouldn't say bubbling, it's probably not the right word. But
Yeah, so we have the wastewater strategy tendered, and we have a contractor at the moment, this WSP, who is working on that as we speak. First priority for us was to address the inflow and infiltration issue in our wastewater network in Tynwald, where we had really big issues at the beginning of the year, from a modeling perspective, to get an understanding what needs to be done in regards of upgrades or other measurements to reduce the inflow and infiltration into the network. We went out as well, had a look around the gully traps in Tynwald, where people are discharging then for roof runoff directly into the wastewater network. I understand sometimes it's hard for them because maybe the stormwater discharge with so-called is not working on their land anymore, but it affects really then the issue on the wastewater side, and we could get wastewater spills out of the gully traps, and this can have health and environmental issues.
Councillor Wilson.
Now that we've moved into a more regulatory compliance regime, we have a regulator that's going to look on us, and potentially the Commerce Commission coming, and all that regulatory stuff that we never had before. Will we be setting up a policy or that sort of argument around a compliance measures, so that, if we have it's common practice in water services companies, RDR, it always has we're always compliant, and that's sort of one of the benchmarks of the company, and I'm sure Electricity Ashburton has the same idea, they're always compliant. Will we be setting up a policy that, escalates if things happen, or all that sort of thing, so that governance can be assured that when we're non-compliant, that's actions taken?
Yes, without a doubt. That's part of the work what we are doing here with you as well. When you are looking to the appendices, it's already clearly stated. You get that now on a 4-weekly base. And if we see something high risky, which coming up in between, we will inform governance definitely out of that one.
And some of that stuff will be in our water services delivery plan, won't it?
That's correct.
Yes.
Yep.
Hamish.
Thank you. Just to reinforce Ulrich's answer, our intention is always to be compliant, and there's two strands to that compliance. And this committee over the last period has seen reports on compliance in through two particular lenses. One is the resource consent compliance, and the other is the water quality standards that Te Mata Arawai are charged with managing. So our compliance isn't just resource management consent requirements, it's also water quality from Te Mata Arawai, and we report on both those already.
Thank you. Councillor Everest.
Sorry.
Yep. Oh,
Boy on the block, I messed it up. Sorry, is that all right?
you're right now.
My question, Mr. Chair, is just to understand a little more about the top channel improvements. Whilst that will improve water delivery, I presume, does it actually address the issue of the wetland itself performance?
No.
And are we going to deal with that?
No, the channel itself will not improve. The channel is purely there. It's going, so to speak, in a 90 degrees to the wetlands. And if we have a high flow, it flows over a weir and then out onto the farmland before it ends up far away at the Hakatere. Normally will not happening. Normally it soaks away throughout that period. But we need, as part of a resource consent condition, really report that back to the regional council. And we have only, I think, 5-6 overflows per year, 10 consented.
So the wetlands is going to be looked at in this Ocean Farm plan, isn't it? How we deal with that.
Correct. At the moment, from a compliance perspective, our sampling point is behind the wetlands, and this is what Andy mentioned before. With avian sitting in the wetlands, we are getting a higher E. coli reading as where the water is coming from the treatment plant at Wilkins Road, ending up before the wetland, where we have a better reading. And this is really a discussion we need to have them with the regional council and what we are doing with the wetlands.
Thank you.
Councillor Maxwell.
Just a quick question as a farmer. Has there been any consideration at all for attempting what they call catch crops? So it's something that we've been doing in our land care groups, where farmers are planting crops that are nitrate hungry, and then they capture the nitrate and use it up so that it's taken away in the form of whatever's been growing on top.
That's part of the irrigation scheme, where normally the grass, we are doing a cut and carry. Yeah, but this is part of how it's set up at the moment in regards of getting then the nitrogen loading moved away, which goes then into the grass, will be harvested and will be used then for feeding.
Can I just supplement? I suggest you look at some different crops because there's some better things than grass.
Thank you.
Okay, no more questions on that. Stormwater projects and just the GIS tool. What's that going to do? What is it, pretty much?
Okay, so the GIS tool is just an internal, it's for internal use, but effectively, as part of the consent, we were required to do an assessment of the high-risk sites on the Ashburton Stormwater Network. So we've done that work, but in the process of preparing identifying the sites, the service provider built a GIS tool so that we could repeat the exercise in future. So the view is that we notify Environment Canterbury of the 10 high-risk sites and our findings. It's almost certain Environment Canterbury will ask us now to work our way down the list. So the GIS tool will allow us to do this job without having to get an external service provider every time.
Cool, thank you. No other comment from you guys on stormwater? No further questions? Asset management? No comments there? No. Drinking water compliance? Any questions there? Councillor Gilkinson.
Can you just explain this table for someone who doesn't know? Because when you look at the table, if I was drinking water that was 65% good of the time, I probably wouldn't drink it. But I'm sure there's more to it than that.
Yeah, I suppose the take-home message is our water is safe. There's no concerns about the water quality. This compliance is an assessment of compliance against every rule that we're required to meet. And in some cases, many of those rules are reporting type rules. And in other cases, they are things like having the right treatment systems in place. And a good example is the Ashburton Water Supply hasn't had UV at inception, but it's been a perfectly safe water supply for many, many years. The requirements of the drinking water standards and the rules, we had to put UV in place. So when the UV units go into the various supplies, progressively the level of compliance will go up. So it's a numerical compliance level, but certainly no concerns about water quality at this point.
Okay. So with regards to this meeting, you'll highlight when there are issues.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we probably won't be waiting for a meeting.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, and maybe in addition to what Andy just said, in regards of compliance, when we are doing work this financial year and the reporting is next financial year for looking backwards, we are at the moment non-compliance, but we have everything in place. You know, this is as well the match-up or the issue with the numbers. So we have, apart from Chertsey and Domain, all of our plants, apart from two more, have UV or cartridge filtration. So we are fully compliant, but this doesn't show on that slide or on that table because the reporting period is different.
Councillor Wilson.
The Montalto trial that we're talking about, just for clarification, the Montalto is a stock water supply which provides water to houses, and we're looking at a trial of point of entry to the house trial. I'm wondering how that's going.
Yeah, thank you for that question. Really good one as well. So we had various discussions with Taumata Arawai, the Water Services Authority, And we were on site. We have identified 3 sites to do a trial in regards of cartridge filtration, UV systems, and as well possible tanks. So that's identified. We are just waiting for the costing to do the installation. We plan still to have the installation done before Christmas on 3 sites. Then we are putting monitor equipment out there as well to get an understanding on the raw water which is coming in, how it's treated, how it's going out, how the cartridge filtration is behaving, because under the rules with Stomata ROI, cartridge filtration needs to last minimum 1 month. We want to have it last 6 to 12 months if possible. The trial will run till next June before we will make then a final call how we would like to address that. The biggest issue out in Montalto for the new councillor is really backflow prevention, because how the system is set up at Montalto, we get as well from the water main, water which is going to troughs to feeding stock. If there is no backflow in, through the trough, water could come back into the supply to the houses. That's one risk. The other one risk is if chemical are sprayed, we need to prevent that as well, which could come through troughs as well back into the water supply scheme.
Hamish.
I also just want to follow that up and give the committee the assurance that we're working with Te Mata ROI to have a compliant scheme. They've taken quite a pragmatic view to date as to what is an appropriate investment for a scheme that has, I think, around 30 households connected. And so we are working very closely with Te Mata ROI and their approval of an appropriate infrastructural investment that where they say that now complies, that will be what we do. So we're not trying to, and I think the previous council had seen some very expensive solutions, including completely new reticulation for these 30 people that was running into multiple millions of dollars. And council was previously made it really clear they're looking for a cost-effective solution to the issues in Montalto, and that the best way of being compliant and investing what's required to be compliant is to understand what the regulator will accept. So that's an assurance I want to give the committee that Te Mata ROI are a key player in the Montalto solution. In fact, they've been using what they call mixed-use rural supplies like Montalto, and they've been using Montalto as an example to try and roll out around the country, because there's plenty of these supplies that are primarily for stock water, and a relatively small number of houses access their drinking water from it, and that the solution needs to be pragmatic for the situation, for the investment required. So we're continue to work closely with Te Mata ROI. They're very aware of Montalto. They use it as an example in many discussions around a broad range of similar supplies in New Zealand.
Thank you for that. Any further questions on the water supply? No. RMA compliance. Anything you'd like to add there, Andy?
Yeah, so our typical approach is to highlight in blue the particular consent that is, we've had a most recent compliance monitoring report. So that's shown in Appendix B. The highlighted CMR was effectively just a review of progress of our action plan, and a couple of the 6 conditions that were previously assessed as non-compliant, action required, are now compliant. So it's just a bit of a progress report, and we're going the right way. So I'm quite happy with that.
Any questions on that? Councillor Hooper.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. The nitrogen loading rates exceeded. Was that due to the spread of the irrigation on the paddocks and corners being missed, etc.?
Yeah, that's the long-standing issue that the action plan is part of our response to that, if you like.
Financials. Page 16 is all, Councillor Wilson.
Do you want to do it in page order, or how do you want to?
No, you're right.
I jumped from the very last line on the last page, which was development of assessing annual plan 26-27 budget implications, because we have been operating under the three-year annual plan, which had set what we were going to spend, but now since we've done a water services plan, which is a lot more in depth and is a higher cost, when will we have a comparison between the two so that we understand the implications, because at the moment we've got this water services plan that says what we've got to do, because that's what we've got to do, but that doesn't align with our annual plan or our long-term plan. When will we get those two things aligned? Because we can't spend without that background.
Hamish.
Thank you for the question. I regard them as one and the same thing. So the Water Services Delivery Plan is the approved plan, including budget, approved by this council after due consideration, submitted to the government and been accepted. So I don't think there will be differences between the annual plan and the Water Services Delivery Plan. If there are, they will be via improved or council considering additional work over and above the Water Services Delivery Plan, if that is required. And we're starting to do some careful examination of some of that thinking right now. But essentially, we are regarding the annual plan for water as already done, and it is year one of the Water Services Delivery Plan. So we are regarding and there's some different formats. So we've still got work to do around marrying them up and making sure that is true by the time it gets to you. But this is the approved budget for the annual plan. And you may recall that for the connection of, for the charges for the three water services, there is a 12% increase in those charges already approved by council and accepted by the government in the Water Services Delivery Plan.
So when the annual plan comes, that'll come through in those budgets and show clearly as Three Waters.
Yes, and you'll have another, you have already, the previous council rather, had already considered this in some detail. This council will need to get to grips with what is in here, and it will show clearly that the annual plan reflects the approved Water Services Delivery Plan.
I just want to flag though that the Water Services Plan is almost independent of projections that we've done in the past. So to say that our current annual plan, that the current 3-year long-term plan never contemplated the level of expenditure that we've got in our water services plan. So just want to...
It is true. So there will be differences through you, Mr. Chair, between the long-term plan projections for year 3 and the current annual plan that we're in the process of preparing, but that the annual plan will reflect the Water Services Delivery Plan because that's the updated information that was submitted to the Crown.
So as part of that process, for the Three Waters Committee's point of view, we'll be able to compare the two scenarios so that so the community can understand, that's what I'm getting at, understand what we were doing to what we have to do. There is quite a significant difference. So they need to understand that's one of the drivers of our costs and our rate changes going forward. That the change that we've had to implement, which we needed for the water quality and quantity and everything, but we've been forced into doing that rather than by choice just deciding to spend a lot more on water.
Yeah, yes, that's true. And keeping in mind that the community has already had some involvement with the preparation of the Water Services Delivery Plan via the consultation leading up to council choosing the independent business unit as its structural model to deliver water. So we'll be able to show you all that information in any manner that gives you comfort that we're getting it right. But from the purposes of the Water Services Delivery Plan, and I think, Mr. Chairman, we would urge all members of the Water Committee and indeed all councillors
to become very familiar with the Water Services Delivery Plan.
Okay. It's on our website.
It's on our website. It contains a vast amount of information. There's a lot of, there's probably another 20 times as much information in the background that supports this, and we're open to giving you as much that you need to see how it's built. But get familiar with the plan, because that's the commitment that we've given the government in order to deliver Three Waters services in the structure that has been adopted. So the annual plan needs to reflect this.
Thank you. I see it'll be a timing thing, capital expenditure, we're at 54% of budget for drinking water, but capital income, we're at 0, so I just assume that's a timing thing with the time of year we're at.
The capital income will be brought through loans, so they won't typically be picked up till later in the year.
Yeah. Councillor Wilson?
Because we have to be it's a standalone organisation within council, can we see in the financial Appendix C the debt that's attributed to that standalone business? Because that's something that we will have to be sending to prove that we're doing what we said we're going to do.
Yes, and one of the obligations under the reformed water management system is water needs its own set of financials, including balance sheet data. So yes, you will be able to get that through this group, but what you can see already, and we've been reporting on this for a significant period of time, is in the Audit and Risk and Finance Committee, and you can see the financial report previously going directly to council, but now going to and continue to go to the Audit and Risk Committee. You can see that we do break up council's debt levels by activity, so you can readily see how much of our debt is associated with the water services already. But we will be showing it in a really clear way as we progress the implementation of the independent business unit and the reform requirements.
And moving forward, the financial side of this Three Waters Service Delivery Plan is going to be quite a large component of it, if you like, too. I mean, it's going to be a big area of expertise that's going to be needed.
Yes, it is. And the particular issue that we are turning our mind to is around the requirement to ring fence. So the requirement of the legislation is that the costs and revenue associated with the Three Waters must be clearly ring fenced from the rest of council's operation. And one of the challenges for us is that our stormwater funding is currently via the general rate, so clearly not ring fenced, and so we need to make some adjustments as we approach the implementation of the business unit to reflect that. And we will also have to, I'm no doubt, establish to someone's approval, presumably the Commerce Commission, that we are clearly showing that the costs associated with delivering water are being paid by those that receive that same service. So that ring fencing is a focus for our team as well. In fact, it's one of the primary rationales for the additional financial support that is required in the organisation to focus on getting the requirements of the independent business unit properly set up and implemented.
Thank you. Any further questions on the financials? Procurement, page 8. Any comment there? Just no. Councillor Hooper.
Thank you. The Methven wastewater treatment plant inlet screen renewal, that's not an overly old plant. Why? What's up with the needing a new screen?
It's beyond its life cycle. So it is actually not a new plant. It's quite an old plant.
It's a mechanical removement, and normally it lasts maybe 10-15 years, depends what kind of material you are getting in. If you are getting a lot of grit into it, so the screen will really suffer from that, and then you need to replace it earlier.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking of the drinking water.
Yeah. Yeah.
The photos, Right and Drive, the stormwater main repair, what happened there?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. So that cable that you see in one of the photos, that was a drilled cable. So we believe, we can't prove it, but we believe that in the process of drilling that cable through, the contractor very kindly drilled through the pipe first.
Awesome.
Some years ago, potentially.
Councillor Wilson.
Yeah, we sort of changed our policy a bit last year to try and get tenders out because we felt it was good shopping is the word you'd use in the rating. Have we been finding that lately? If I look at 9.2, that appears to me to be good shopping if it's valued as under budget. So is that still occurring, or because when will, once all the water services organisations get up and running, that should mean there's a lot more demand for work as it was, rather than at the moment it's probably all a bit quiet. Are we still shopping hard as it was?
Yeah, through the chair. We haven't gone through market yet. We will do it in January or February this year. So all the prices that we have gathered the previous years is still the same stance.
But the more recent tenders, it's still a very competitive market, so it is still good shopping. So we've done the right thing by getting a lot of our work underway. Yep.
Cool. I think we've probably talked about a bit of this already, but the Water Services Delivery Plan implementation, have you got any further comment there?
I think that was already well discussed. And
Anyone have any questions on that? Do you just like to talk us through your photo gallery and just a bit of an explanation on those photos? We've had the Right and Drive one. Or does anyone have any questions on any of the photos? No. Photo is obviously 1,000 words, isn't it?
May I ask a question on it?
Certainly you may, Councillor.
Totally off the topic. The fluoride, is that still required in Methven? You know how we didn't have the right chemical, stoichiometrically the right chemical thing that was required and to fit the new plant. Where are we up to with that?
Yeah, no, the Methven's still being fluoridated.
Yes.
We are required to continue to fluoridate, so we haven't stopped since we had the...
Oh, I thought we did temporarily stop.
We had a pause while we were between plants.
Yes.
And that was because the old plant used a different type of chemical.
That's right, yeah.
And the new plant used a different stuff, if you like. The main issue was we didn't want to do a bulk purchase of the old chemical,
right, yeah.
and we got sort of an unwritten dispensation from the health department that allowed that to happen.
So we're back going again now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
And where do you store that? At the same spot?
yeah, at the site. Yeah.
Thank you. Any further questions? Anything else you want to add, Ulrich?
Nothing to add. What I normally want to start with, I wanted to congratulate all of the councillors who got elected and re-elected into council, and wonderful to seeing new and the old faces as well. Thank you very much.
Less of the old, please. Okay.
Don't comment.
I will call the meeting to a close and thank you.